Titled Through the Valley, or as I like to call it, the episode that shattered our souls. Now, if you thought HBO was going to let us have nice things, think again. Just think again. They're not going to let us have nice things. Tonight, we're going to have a quick recap on this episode. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me go ahead and hop in it. Put myself here. That's What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Who we got up in here so far? I see we got, Gothic Chica was here early. Oh, I love that. I love that. What's going on, Gothic Chica? All right, I think we're going on. All right, good. Fernando, what's going on? Happy to see you as always. Yes, this was absolutely an emotionally charged episode. Like, this one had everybody in their feelings. Like, this brought me back. And somebody going through the game, this brought me back. And oh my gosh, like, I knew it was coming, but somehow it still hit really, really hard. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Who else we got up in here? Frankie, always happy to. Hello, peeps. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend today because I haven't seen episode 2 of The Last of Us yet. I blame my husband and son. I did give it a thumbs up. Enjoy the live chat. Always happy that you stopped by. I really, really appreciate that. You know, Frankie, man, I can't even put into words how much I appreciate you all. Frankie is here every week, always showing support. I absolutely adore Frankie and her husband. Thank you so much for stopping by, even if just to give a thumbs up. Now, everybody who's making their way in, please do me a quick favor. Give this video a like if you're on your way in. If you're watching us on Twitter, aka the X, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, or heart, right? Or is it a check? It's something, right? It's like double tap. Go ahead and do that for me. Now, we got a lot that we're going to get into with this episode tonight. I know some of you are still going through the feelings after that incredible episode. The emotional weight of Joel's death is insane. Do me a favor, drop your initial reactions in the chat. Right? Do me a favor, go ahead and drop your initial reactions to this episode in the chat. Like, were you prepared for this episode, or did HBO catch you off guard? Like, did anybody warn you? Did any of the gameplay surprise you? Like, I saw people online, like comic book creator Jimmy Palmiotti was posting online, and he was like, he's still processing what he saw on Sunday, on Wednesday, and he came out and admitted, like, he did not play the game. You know, I know that there's still people out there who are not in the orbit of The Last of Us to understand what was going to happen. This to me was The Last of Us's version of the Red Wedding, right? All the book people were like, it's about to go down. They eating their popcorn. They just watching their friends. They're not even watching their screens. They watching their friends' faces. This was it for us. Joel, I don't know if I'm ever going to recover. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's start getting into this one. Fernanda, you said you were shocked. What's going on, Markeisha? How you doing tonight? I know I was shocked. It was a lot. Let me get this other clip for us while I'm thinking about it. This is what happened. There we go. Good. See? I knew somebody had it. So we're going to go through it in a little bit. Yeah, this is a good one. Cool. All right. So let me go ahead and let me get my screen up. Let's get into it. We're about to deep dive live, y'all. We're going to do like the pre-recorded deep dives, but we're going to do it live. Markeisha said, I knew it was going to happen, but I still hurt. David, said, I finished the game, so no surprise, but Sonya wasn't prepared and her reaction took me back. Ultimately, even though this was bad, he was a villain, and we love, but a villain nonetheless. This is so true. Some of our favorite stories are watching the villain, watching things from the villain's perspective. Marvel has this thing where they love to humanize their villains. They're not really bad. They're just deeply flawed. And that was Joel. But we just happen to be rooting for Joel because he was our guy. He was the one that we empathized with. He's the one we played as. He's the one we grew with in season 1. He's the one who we saw lose his daughter and then find another one 20 years later. So yeah, this is ooh. Now I was sitting here and I kept comparing this with the game. I couldn't help but do it all the time, all throughout the show. Abby's backstory, when they're giving us Abby's backstory. In the game, we don't find out why she did what she did to Joel till much later. We just thought it was like a robbery gone wrong. Like, some hijackers found him. Joel said something slick, and he got. But in the show, we're with Abby from the beginning, and we understand her motivations. And this was a big change because, in the game at first it was a revenge story, but in the show it's right off from the beginning. They're trying to make you feel conflicted, right? Caitlin Dever's doing a great job as Abby with her performance. She's given us so much emotional depth, especially in this episode. This was incredible. Like, she had that dream sequence, and honestly, that dream was intense, and it was intense in the game. Like, you're playing it and it's scary all throughout. You're not playing that kind of horror, but that kind of horror, like, I half expected Freddy Krueger to pop out and say, even I think this is a bit much, right? Like, but I'm curious what you guys who either played the game or didn't play the game, what are your thoughts on Abby's introduction? Does she make you sympathize with her, or are you still holding a grudge now that we've seen what happened? But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into this deep dive. So let me bring up my Oh, what are you saying? Maria Garcia, excuse me, Maria Graciela Saez says, I felt blindsided. Yeah, yeah, it was real. Vader is a good example. Ooh, yeah, right? Because we rocking with Anakin, and even in Ahsoka, we still kind of rock with Anakin, but he is the villain. He is the villain. What happened here? All right. This is my wrong script. So let me bring up my script for us. And I don't know how I messed this up, but you guys get to see some, like, normally only the Patreons get to see this. Like, you guys are getting to see a little bit of my behind the scenes work process now. And how this happened is a mystery to me. Let me see, what else are you guys saying? I haven't played the game. It was good to not know, but Pascal carried the show. Can Bella Ramsey take the rest of the season on her shoulders? So that's going to be the question, right? Is she going to be able to carry the show the way that we saw Pedro carry the show throughout all of season 1? And I got to tell you right now, to be 100 with you, it's going to be tough, because even on his way out, Pedro was giving it to us, especially in this episode. He was doing his thing. I honestly think that, I came into this season really, really wanting to get some time with Joel after being away from him for so long, right? We hadn't seen Joel since the end of season 1. And I really just wanted to reconnect with him and see that familiar character and face. But rather than that happening, the whole show went left. So let me go ahead. Let me see what else you guys are saying before I get started. Interview her, Caitlin Dever. I can ask. That's not a bad question. That's not a bad question. I might be able to pull that one off. I don't feel like that one is outside of reach. So let me go ahead and see if I could possibly get into that. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get this started. For those of you just now joining, welcome back to The Correct Opinion, where we discuss emotional damage, game to film glow ups, and why horror is secretly therapy with jump scares. So tonight, like I said, we're going to be breaking down The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. Then, thanks to the Patreon members for voting it on this one. It was either going to be a discussion on The Accountant 2 or Until Dawn, and our Patreon members went ahead and voted for it. So tonight, we're going to be discussing Until Dawn, the movie, not the game. But yeah, still trauma. And of course, I know we got some Ryan Gosling is now in Star Wars, and Predator might be turning a hero. So let's go ahead and get into it. Um, we live or is this a replay? This is live, Skylar. You made it on. You here? We in it. We in it. We in it. Let's go. There'll probably be flashbacks. It's not the end of the scenes with Pascal. We need him in the first family or Marvel Fantastic Four. Yeah, Pedro is in everything. I feel like Pedro already. It's April, and I think Pedro already has 4 movies that released this year. He's on like his second TV show. He's got a Mandalorian movie coming out. He's got the Fantastic Four movie coming out. Pedro's a busy guy. Like, I low-key be joking with E-Man and saying, I don't think Pedro has a home, right? Like, he's not homeless, but I really feel like he goes from set to set. But we'll see. We'll see. I missed most of last season, kind of skipped through season 2 premiere and went immediately to episode 2 and was devastated. Yeah. It was a rough one. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this thing started. Let's get into The Last of Us season 2, episode 2. Yeah, you guys should be able to see this. So this episode opens with the familiar sight for us gamers, right? Abby is skinny, she's haunted, she's walking down that hallway. The vibes, pure PTSD. Now, 5 years later, and Sis is still stuck in a time loop like her trauma came with a season pass. She turns to her subconscious and drops the gut punchline. I don't know you. Woo! I don't know you? She looked at herself and said, I don't know you. That's not just internal conflict. That's a full-on identity eviction notice. You are not the person I recognize over there. Now, this is the innocent Abby looking at the Abby of today and saying she rejects her, right? It lets us know that she's lost herself. She doesn't even know who she is anymore. And it hurts. It hurts. And she puts the blame for this squarely on the shoulders of one Joel Miller. She then says to herself, you're lying, right? You're lying, as if she's in hopeful denial. Not only is she arguing with herself, but she's also gaslighting herself. Like, girls in 4D denial. And for the record, she's rocking a Firefly dog tag because subtlety is for non-revenge stories. We then see her wake up the next day in the lodge and hold up with the other Fireflies, aka the wolves. I guess these are the wolves. These ain't the Fireflies. These are the wolves. And they look out to see that Jackson is a whole city and is a much bigger group than they thought it was. What's cool is that it seems like Tati Gabrielle is here reprising her role as Nora. And this is the same actress who did the voice for the character in the game. Now, they changed her appearance from the game and they matched her shaved head that she's also using in the new Naughty Dog game, Intergalactic. This is the same actress. So Naughty Dog has this thing where they love to bring back the actors from the game and give them roles in the show, or just bring them back game from game. So I really like this little inclusion of Tati in this, and I love that she's carrying this new look with her as opposed to what we saw from her in the original game. Now I just wanted y'all to get an idea of what this new game looks like. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophecy. Yo, Naughty Dog don't miss. Naughty Dog does not miss. So I am going to be playing every game that they make, whether it's Uncharted, whether it's The Last of Us, or it's Intergalactic. I am here for it. But yeah, it's clear that not everyone is hyped about Abby's revenge tour, right? Like, half the squad is ready to dip, and the other half is giving each other that we'll talk later look. You know the one, like, they was giving those to each other. Like, when your boy orders a $90 steak and says, we'll split the bill. Like, meanwhile, in Jackson, we see Ellie is catching Z's and gets woken up by Jesse, Dina's ex. Now, real quick, I like this Easter egg shot of Ellie's guitar that's gifted to her. Now, I don't know if they're going to talk a little bit more about this in the series, but this guitar is an Easter egg from the game. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out real quick. But yeah, Jesse, he messes with her about Dina kissing her the night before, but they start making their way out to patrol for the day. We see the town arming up as Jesse gives us some foreshadowing about how some of the other patrols found 30 infected hiding under the snow under the bodies of dead infected, using them as insulation. Ellie is not really interested in taking all the shit that comes with going on patrol with Jesse, and is even willing to go out on patrol with Joel instead. The problem is that Joel and Dina already dipped for patrol, so Ellie's stuck with Jesse, right? So we then see Tommy going over the plan if there's ever an emergency and things go bad in town. So I like this because we're getting caught up on more of the changes with the characters in the 5 years since we last saw them. It's been a good amount of time since the end of season 1. We see that Tommy has evolved from Joel's little bro to general of the apocalypse. Respect. I like this moment because we see so much growth from the Tommy we knew into the leader we know. Now, the stalker from last episode and the infected hiding under the snow is enough to have the leadership council spooked. So they're all on high alert. We then see Ellie and that dude that Joel punched out from last episode, and they kind of hash out their stuff from what he said the night before. And I can't tell you how hard I listened and waited for Ellie to call that stanky ass sandwich a bigot sandwich. Now that's another one. My game is no, but I was waiting for them to say bigot sandwich. Anyway, as Ellie and Jesse start heading out, they make note of the storm that seems to be heading their way. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick. I got Skylar's message blocking my face. I'm all messed up. I think there are 2 Pedros. Yeah, I know. Pedro's in a career renaissance right now, and I love that for him. I enjoyed Until Dawn, the hard time. We're going to get to that. Matter of fact, I'm going to star that. We're going to get to that. I knew Joel's death was coming, but I didn't think it would be this soon. Yeah. Does Abby know why? Oh, you know what? I'm going to star some of these. Listen, we're going to get into this. So yeah, as Ellie and Jesse start making their way out, like I said, they start making notice of the storm that seems to be heading their way. We then switch back to Abby, who's on watch by herself and is about to head inside and give up for the day when she happens to hear the neighing of a horse. And she spots 2 folks on patrol outside of the town. We then switch back to see that the town is continuing their preparations and shoring up their defenses, while we're also simultaneously noticing that the blizzard is setting in and the bad weather is affecting the signal on the walkie-talkies that they use for patrol. We then catch up with Ellie and Jesse, who are in a nearby town, I guess, and decide to hold up and wait out the blizzard. And then the 7-Eleven of the apocalypse, right? Ellie and Jesse roll into Eugene's secret weed lair like it's the grand prize on The Price is Right, right? There's greenery, nostalgia, and Eugene's ex-Firefly dog tag. Game reference again. We're on game reference alert. So if there are more game references, I need y'all to drop them in the chat. I'm gonna do my best to spot them all, but I need any of you who have gone through the game to help me along the way. Ellie's giddy like she just found Taylor Swift tickets in the vending machine. They talk about how Joel had to put down Eugene, and we still don't know the circumstance in which it happened. Now, I'm sure that the show is going to explain, because that seems to be the way that the writers write. Straight up, that seems to be the way that the writers write. You guys know, if you've been watching me from, I study the way writers write in order to try to forecast what might be coming. And this feels like how the writers write. They tease stuff, they foreshadow, and then they do something we're not used to and they provide clear, logical, and precise answers, leaving little to no ambiguity. And I fucking love it. Anyway, back to Abby, who hears horses and tries to sneak up, but slips into a horror movie. She lands in a frozen graveyard of dead infected and quickly realizes it's actually a zombie buffet, and she's the main course. These infected don't crawl. They sprint like they just heard Beyonce drop the surprise album. She tries to carefully get the fuck out of there when she finds out that she's in the middle of a sea of dead infected bodies. And one of them mothers just start moving. They just start moving. And then more start moving. And then we see that this thing that Jesse was talking about early in the episode, remember? Infected, hiding under infected and using them for insulation. There's a bunch of them under the snow. And Abby starts hauling ass. But these mofos run like them zombies in 28 days later. Full sprint. Abby is making moves and does her best to stay one step ahead of the horde, and we get some downright gorgeous visuals and thrilling moments as she narrowly makes her way to a fence where she really starts hitting. Let me rephrase that. Where shit really starts hitting the fan, and Abby is nearly crushed by the horde as she's crawling through this knocked over fence. One of the infected tackle her when out of nowhere, pow pow, she's rescued by none other than Motherflood Puckin' Joel. And OMG, Joel. He came, this was thrilling. My heart was racing. No, yes, but no. Joel, the man, the myth, the mistake, he saves her. Irony break. The dude she's hunting just saved her life. And Abby, she's like, let's go to my place. Let's go back to my place. Red Flag City. Tommy finds out that Jackson hasn't heard from Joel or Dina, and Tommy is ready to go get his mother flood fucking brother. Like what? Right out. Every 10 seconds. You hear me? Every 10 seconds. We switch back to Ellie and Jesse hanging out in Eugene's weed house when Jesse overhears on the radio that Joel and Dina haven't checked in, and Ellie flips a switch. She flips a switch and immediately starts heading out the door to go searching for them. Everyone's trying to barely hold it together. The weather is trash. The signals are worse, and the leadership is sweating. We switch back to town where the construction crew is still working on them broken pipes when they finally see those infected tendrils have infiltrated the pipes. And the way this episode is doing the buildup, the way it's like a crescendo where things are just increasingly going from bad to worse. I love this. I love the pacing of this episode. I love the setup. I love the writing. The way they did this is a masterclass because this feels like Game of Thrones episode 7 or 8 all season long. This is way early in the season, and I have a feeling that they're not done yet. They're not done yet. We switch back to Joel, Dina, and Abby really quickly. I forgot. And they see that the infected tendrils, using their hive mind powers, have informed the other infected that the town of Jackson is ripe for infection. And we see that the horde that was following Joel, Dina, and Abby have diverted their efforts and shift their attention to the town of Jackson. And this is where things really starts to pick the F up. Scouts spot the incoming horde and sound the alarm. Remember all that emergency drill foreshadowing? Yeah, it's game time now. Cue the montage, barricades, flamethrowers, chaos. It's like Home Alone meets World War Z. This scene is so freaking good. This is up there with any of the White Walker invasion scenes from the OG Game of Thrones. Even the one where the White Walkers invaded Mance Raider's camp. Stuff gets real fast, with Tommy not even having the time to think about Joel anymore and having to immediately start leading the defenses of Jackson. And this is a powerful moment because we know at one point in time, Tommy would have dropped anything to save his brother. But this is an older Tommy with more responsibilities than just Joel. He has a wife and child here. But yeah, this moment is thrilling and the visuals are incredible. I know HBO. Yo, I've been watching HBO stuff for a while. And I know that when they did this, they probably really set people on fire for these scenes. Like, they don't really like to use CGI for most of this stuff in their other shows and love to give us those beautifully practical visuals. Tommy is doing a pretty good job at leading the defenses when he hears and spots a bloater among the crowd of infected and immediately realizes that, look, we're not keeping them out. There's nothing that they can do to stop the infected from breaching their walls. Once he saw a bloat, it's a boss. It's a boss. There's a boss from the game walking around. He's getting in. And am I the only one who saw this and got Lord of the Rings Two Tower vibes from this? Like that when we were watching the Two Towers at the Battle of Helm's Deep and that one orc was carrying, I think it was like a bomb on his head, and he was making his way to the wall and none of the elves who was sniping could stop him. Like, is it just me? Because like I immediately thought of all that. And Tommy is out here. The bloater makes his way in, and Tommy is out here cooking the infected with a flamethrower. But the bloater, right? He stomps in like a final boss with no respawn timer. He's just here. We also see that the snipers don't think to barricade themselves onto the roofs. Like, I feel like that was a hole in their logic. They're like, all right, if they make it into the main street of town, we'll just snipe them from the roof and we'll close the door. We're not going to lock it. What's the harm in that? You know what I mean? Could have thought that through a little bit more. Like they were really prepared, but that one fallacy really, really messed them up. The bloater makes his way into the town and he starts heading straight for Tommy's wife, Maria, until Tommy does what a man should and draws its attention away from her. It's almost like my guy had the cheat code for courage. Like he thought he had extra lives or something or a bandage pack. He was like, oh, I got one in my backpack, whatever. But then Tommy does something wild when he corners himself into a dead end. And rather than running into any of these stores, you know, breaking the glass and keeping the chase going, he decides to make a stand. And he starts cooking the F out of this bloater. And at first, I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. Like, Tommy, it wasn't looking great. Tommy kept cooking this mofo. And even after emptying his tank on it, he almost got when it finally fell. It was like 2 steps in front of him, but it finally went down. And he soloed a boss fight. My man is a G. We switch and see the town is going through it. The town is still having a tough time because the infected have breached all the snipers. Everybody's down in the street, and it's like we're doing solo fights. We just brawling in the streets now. And the infected are doing a really good job of taking on the residents. When Tommy's wife, Maria, has the genius idea to unleash the town's dogs, and they go full Cujo versus Clicker. It's doggone chaos. And somehow, the best plan B of the apocalypse. We then switch back to see Abby, Dina, and Joel meet up with Abby's friends in the lodge, and Abby leads Joel and Dina into a trap. She almost gives the impression that she might be thinking twice about her plan, considering that Joel saved her life. And everything. Until she goes around the room and makes introductions, letting her team know that that guy there, that's Joel. They immediately spring into action and take Dina and Joel's weapons while holding Dina hostage. Dina gets knocked out with an injection, which is sus, but And Joel, he's realizing that they're all ex-Fireflies. and he knows the karma bill is due. We all see this moment play out slowly, meticulously, and it shatters any of us gamers' hopes that the show might actually have a heart and consider the idea of altering the story just a little bit. And I have to give credit to the writers because it's beautifully genius how the writers told the line of writing for PlayStation fans and writing for fans unfamiliar with the game. It's a tightrope, but you feel it as a gamer. It's like, what are they doing? Are they gonna? No, they're. Oh, damn. Things pick up big time when Abby shoots Joel in the knee, and things turn the F up. And I gotta say that this is bittersweet, right? Because I've been wanting to get some more Joel screen time. And when we finally see more of Joel, it had to be like this. Abby goes through telling her story and how Joel popped her dad in the head when he took out all the fireflies. And all through the scene, and shout out to Pedro Pascal for emoting this, you can see on his face how effed up he realizes he is. And I swear that there's a moment when you can see in his face that he looks like he's playing it out in his head, and he realizes he's not making it out of here alive. I need anybody who's watching in this stream that happens to be an Emmy voter, wake up. Wake up. I know some of y'all is in here. Wake up. We're watching a masterclass from Pedro Pascal. Abby explains how after the Fireflies got murked, she joined a militia. One of their rules is they're not supposed to murk an unarmed person, but hell, if Joel can murk an unarmed doctor, then why not? And dang it, you can even see Pedro emote the acceptance that this is where his story ends. And I don't know, is Pedro eligible for an Emmy for this? Like, he's only been in the entire show for like 8 minutes, but I swear we should put his name in the hat. Joel urges Abby to just hurry up when Abby decides to grab a golf club. And she starts beating Joel in the knee. The one that she popped with a shotgun. And even the rest of the wolves are looking uncomfortable with how all of this is playing out. And then we switch back to Ellie. Ellie. Oh my gosh. I remember this from the game, right? Like, she can help, right? That means that's why I'm controlling her, to save the day, right? That's my dad. He's in trouble. I'm Ellie. I'm the protagonist. I'm supposed to save him. She found Joel's horse's footprints in the snow, but then we switch back to Abby with Joel, with Joel's face basically looking like lunch meat, as Abby is literally beating Joel to death with her bare hands at this point. Ellie arrives just in time to be too late. She almost got the drop on Abby, but Captain America's sidekick, the Falcon, blocked the shot, and Ellie got mobbed. Now, I like how this scene pays off some foreshadowing from episode 1 and how the writers were, once again, cooking. I immediately thought about how Ellie was sparring in episode 1 and demanding that her sparring partner not pull his punches. And this is why. She wanted to train for real world situations where people wouldn't pull their punches against her. And this is why they pulled their punches and never really helped her for real life situations where people weren't going to hold back. She's not prepared. Joel's death is brutal, emotional, and definitive. It's a moment lifted straight from the game, faithful, uncomfortable, and impossible to ignore. We see Abby and her crew start heading out and start making their way back to wherever the hell it is that they came from. As we see this, we also get this masterful cinematography, right? We see Jesse makes his way to the lodge over their shoulders on his horse. We get a shot of Jackson to see that the dogs helped turn the tide, and both Tommy and his wife were able to survive the horde. But there's a sea of bodies littered in the main street of town. Like, they took heavy, heavy losses throughout the night. We then switch back to see Ellie, Jesse, and Dina on horses heading back to Jackson. And they're literally dragging Joel's lifeless body on a horse behind them. And I mean dragging, not hitching him to a horse, just raw, dragged heartbreak. And then the camera lingers. Like, that scene stretches out longer than it needs to. And so does the pain. This was The Last of Us at its most unforgiving and its most compelling. So I need y'all to let me know in the chat right now. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of Abby's story? What did you think of Tommy's glow up? What did you think of Tommy's boss fight? What did you think of the writing and the foreshadowing and the answers? Drop a zombie in the chat if you saw that horde scene and flinched. I need y'all to be honest. Let me see what you all are saying. Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on here. Y'all was with this episode. So Abby got all those people killed in town, but it's okay because she got her revenge. I hope she meets a gruesome end. I'm not done with the game, and do me a favor. If you guys have finished the game, please don't spoil. Please, please, please don't spoil. But I'm going to shut up because I haven't beat the game, but I'm with you. That attack would have happened anyway as spring thaw came, just saying. Kind of, but we got to remember that the main thing that brought them to in that direction was the tendrils coming through the pipes. The real thing was, what if Joel wasn't messing with that circuit breaker in the beginning of the season and instead was doing his duty and leading the construction crew, right? Maybe he would have been there to oversee the process and caught on that those tendrils were there in the first place. Maybe. This episode was fire, even though Joel got. Yeah, this was a masterclass episode. I'm excited to see the next episode. I had a problem with this scene, Abby going off on her own. That's how they work, though. They operate in taking shifts, and she was determined. This was a reflection of how determined she was. She was the smallest person out there, freezing her butt off. But I'm gonna tell you right now, right? I know the pain of losing a parent. If my parent got murked and I knew who did it, and that person was walking around not having any consequence, I understand if you carry that pain for 5 years. Unflinching pain. Totally get it. 100%. The zombie mob was crazy. Yeah. Tommy is giving me Rick Grimes vibes from, yeah, right? So this reminds me of, what was the name of the town in The Walking Dead? The one that they set up the walls and the perimeters. Yeah, he was holding that joint down. She didn't know it was Joe until Dina called out his name. Yeah, because she had never met him. This was her first time actually getting eyes on Joel. She had a description. He's so tall. He's handsome. Good looking, you know. Oh, that's what that was in the pipes. Yeah. So they let us know that in season, it might have been in season 2. It might have been in season 1, but they let us know that the infected can communicate with each other through the tendrils of the fungus growing on the walls. It's kind of like a hive mind, almost like symbiotes in Spider-Man. They can talk with each other through the hive and let each other know when something is alive. So we had that scene where the horde was following Joel, Abby, and Dina on horseback, and they were racing back to town, trying to get away from the horde, or they were heading toward the lodge. And then you kind of see them stop chasing them and go in another direction, with a second horde meeting up with them and becoming an even larger horde. That is all because of what happened with the tendrils and the pipes. Once the tendrils told everybody, hey, there's a whole town of people over here. Why are we following 2, 3? There's a buffet over here. Let's go. So that's what happened there. There you go. That's the infected pipes explained for you, Fernando. But let me know if you still got questions. Look, here we go. David said it. These tendrils communicate with the horde to make more infected with all those people in that town. Yes. Yes. Very Lord of the Rings. I knew it reminded me of something, but I couldn't place where it was. But it was definitely that Lord of the Rings 2 scene. That big sucker in the game took all my ammo in the flamethrower 3 times and 40 bullets. They are nuts. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's one scene in the game where I think you got to fight 2 of them. Not easy. Do we know what makes a bloater? Like biologically, what makes some turn into that? So it's just an evolution of the fungus growing on them. So you got to remember, they're not zombies. They're actually not even dead. All those people are technically still alive. What happened is that there's a fungus that kind of hijacks the brain, and it's like a symbiote taking over a human in Spider-Man. I always come back to Spider-Man, but it takes over and controls the host, almost like it's controlling them from a video game, from that wherever it touches them. So it's people are actually still alive, but the fungus is remote controlling them. And it's sentient. It's sentient to a degree. But yeah, so what bloaters are when the fungus overgrowth overtakes a body for so long that they turn into that. So sometimes you'll see the infected, like you'll walk into a room and there'll be a wall of fungus growing, and inside the fungus you'll see a human, like it is just embedded into the fungus, and they'll just sit there for months, weeks, months, years, until they grow so much fungus on top of them that they become a bloater. So yeah, that what we see are different evolutions of the infected and all the different directions they evolve based off of the environment they're in and what stimulates them to take on different traits, which is why now we're getting the ones that sneak, like in episode 1. The reason they're like that is because 5 years in, humans have gotten the system down. They've got a routine. They've got defenses. They're figuring out how to, survive the infected. But the infected are still hunting them. They're still the apex. They're almost like humans. So now, before they could just, be hunters and gatherers. Now they're arming up. They're improving their skills in order to hunt humans better. And we saw Ellie got overtook by one in the first episode. So that's what's going on there. Fernando, Tommy and his wife are my favorite characters. I do not like Ellie as a character. I hate her attitude with everyone. It's easy to hate teenagers because they go through this stage in their life where there's just so much angst. I know everything. You know nothing. The world works the way that I've interpreted it because I've been an adult for 5 minutes. Yeah. Trust me, I have a 21-year-old. I get it. But it's kind of, authentic writing. That's kind of like how some teenagers are, especially ones with trauma. I want Abby to suffer for causing all this, even if it was going to happen at some point anyway. I love her villain story. They made her into an incredible villain. Oh, man. I'm way behind in comments. I didn't realize. I'm not used to. Oh, we got a good turnout tonight. That's what's up. All my folks over here on YouTube, do me a favor. If you're just making your way in, you're enjoying the stream, please do me a favor. Give this video a like. Please, please, please give this video a like. And if you're watching me on X, Twitter, give this video a like as well. I appreciate all of you coming in. I know there's a lot of you guys on Twitter and some of y'all on YouTube. And I think we even are live on Rumble. I think we might even be live on Rumble. I decided to try something new there and add Rumble as a destination. Let's see. I'm sure people on Rumble watch The Last of Us also. Why not? Where else we got? At least give the man a 2-on-1 chance to fist fight. Let him go out on the shield. Yeah, nah. This ain't one of those, because the way that Joel took out that doctor, ain't give him that shot. Why? He doesn't deserve it. He don't deserve it. He didn't give that innocent, unarmed doctor. He used that doctor to make a point to the nurses. He was like, boom, example. The rest of y'all, now y'all too scared to tell me no. Do what I say. Right? That was the way he used that doctor. He threw away that doctor's life. And Abby is the one who suffered for it. So again, if that was one of my parents, I don't know if I'm going to be very nice. You know what I mean? I'd probably be really, really mean. Thankfully, nobody's taking it there, but I'd probably be really mean. Speaking of the Emmys, did you see the Oscars are implementing a new rule that Oscar voters have to watch every film in the category to vote for it? I hope the same will happen with the other awards. How are they going to prove that? You gotta go to an official Oscar movie theater and sign in. Like, how are they gonna prove that? What is that? How's that system gonna work? I'm curious about that. But yeah, let me keep going. What else are you guys saying? The game is still ongoing. Number 3 hasn't dropped yet. I mean, number 2 came out a long time ago, and a lot of times the creators have said they ain't got no number 3. Story's done. Ain't no third game coming. Didn't you see Intergalactic? That's the new game. How in the world are they going to top this episode with incredible writing? Now, if there's one thing that we've seen all throughout season 1 is that the writers find ways to subvert expectations and still satisfy the hell out of the audience. Like, all throughout season 1, it never really went the way that I thought it was going to go. I'm like, oh, we're going to follow them, scene by scene, watching them grow. Now, we would story jump, follow different characters. It would go in wild different directions, but every episode was like a mini movie. So I think they're going to continue to give us that excellent writing. Now, people are not going to be happy because Joel is not the protagonist. Ellie's story is taking center stage, and not everyone is a fan of the actress playing Ellie and her performance and her portrayal of the character. So I'm curious to see how people accept Ellie's story, no matter how good the story writing is, and the actress portraying her. So I can't wait to see everyone's reaction all from throughout the season. It feels like it was well done. I felt like it was in Helm's Deep too. Awesome episode. Yep. Lord, I hope we don't get another Game of Thrones situation where the show catches up to the source material and the show falters and nothing works. Look, from the interviews that I've seen with the creator, Neil Druckmann, he is very comfortable with ending a story. Like, he has no qualms. Like, no, that's the end. No more sequels. So I'm still playing the game to kind of see where the story goes. I know some of the game players already know, but I get the impression that it's something where it's going to be an ending, whether it's fully conclusive or definitive or anything like that. It'll be an ending. And I kind of do trust them and Neil Druckmann with the direction of the story from here on out. He's got he's basically the American Hideo Kojima, or Canadian. He might be Canadian, but Hideo Kojima is like a legendary video game developer, made the Metal Gear series, known for his cinematic storytelling and excellent gameplay. And The Last of Us is like the American equivalent of a Metal Gear game. Again, fantastic. Yes, Michael Lamont, the cordyceps. The fungi are called cordyceps, which I believe are an actual fungus. The only thing is that they haven't evolved yet to the point where they could sustain the heat of the human body to survive in order to take over our brains. But if they ever evolved to, or had a reason to evolve to survive the heat of 98 point something degrees, then we'd be all screwed, because there's no way to immunize yourself from a fungus. Not yet, anyway. And this is all stuff that was explained way back in season 1, episode 1, in this flashback scene where I think it was like the 1960s. They had like a talk show, and these scientists were on a talk show explaining the way that the cordyceps parasite works, and how if anything were to create an end of the world apocalyptic scenario, it would be that. It would be the one thing that we have absolutely no defense for. So yeah, these parasitic fungi, aka evil mushrooms. Michael Lamont has it. Vic, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you. Look, there's a whole bunch of people up in here tonight, but thank you. Always happy to see you, Vic. James Bull, happy to see. Yeah, I didn't even say hello to you, James. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Always happy to see you. We got a good turnout tonight. Dunman 666. Hope everyone's good. Right back at you, my guy. Hope you're having a good night. Maria says, I never played the game. I'm watching everything as a surprise. Make sure that you stay away from people who have played the game, because some of them can be, and they're not always nice people either. That doc was going to carve Ellie up like a Christmas ham. He had it coming. So, one, Ellie volunteered for it, right? It's not like they kidnapped her. Joel actually brought her for this. He was like, yo, dude, here you go. Save the world. And he was like, yeah, I'm going out of my way to use skills that I don't even use anymore to try to save the world. The Fireflies were not evil people, depending on the based on the perspective from what we saw. They were just like a different band of survivors. We got all these different factions, but they were heroes in their own way. The Oscars have a streaming platform. Voters can watch movies on starting in 2028. It will be required for voters to watch on that service. We'll track how far you get along. Skylar, you sound like you're part of the Academy. You know what I'm saying? You just sound like you got a lot more insight than you letting on, bro. I appreciate you giving me that insight. You know what? That might even be a real now. Like, breaking news. The Academy Awards, this is probably already on deadline. I'm a little behind. It won't stop all the voters from cheating, but it will help, I think. I hope so, because I don't like how certain movies that I know deserve more don't get more. And it's a lot of times it's because not everybody is a sort of movie. I think Neil Druckmann is Israeli. Is he? Is he born in Israel? I feel like there's a bunch of them in Canada. Israeli American writer. Okay. Israeli American. He was born in Tel Aviv, Israel. Oh, nice. Okay. He is Israeli. You're 100% right. Oh, look who showed up. This one, Ash, my wayward mod. He only shows up when there's a crowd. I appreciate you coming through, Ash. I know you're going to disappear in a second and tell me, look, I came. I was there. I was modding for you. He gets all the side eye. I need everybody to side eye Ash real quick for me. Thank you. Right, but didn't they keep Ellie's death? Like, Joel didn't know off the top when he started to die. So he didn't know that they were going to kill her, but they also didn't know. They didn't know until they started experimenting with her blood, and they were like, yo, I don't think we're going to get all the information we need at this point. We're going to have to go into bone marrow. I think it was bone marrow. So no, he didn't know that they were planning on doing that to her, but neither did they. So that's that. Look at him on his way out. Thunderbolts. Anyway, but yeah, what were your favorite moments from this episode? I need y'all to let me know in the comments. I'm going to start queuing up our next segment, but go ahead and let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments. I know I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm really happy that Neil Druckmann is involved with the show as much as he was with the game. I think it adds a very, very, very important layer of authenticity to everything, and it also validates writers in other mediums to be involved with film and television. I feel like a lot of times producers and creators, when they see, I don't know, comic book writers or video game writers, they don't give them an honest opportunity to cross over into the world of film and television the way I think a lot of them deserve. Like it took Ryan Reynolds to bring Zeb Wells into the Deadpool writers room. And comic book fans might know who Zeb Wells is. I think he wrote the Deadpool comic, and it made that last Deadpool, I think, a lot better. Honestly. You know what I mean? Like it just adds that extra layer that makes things a lot more true for the people who made the content popular enough to get that adaptation, right? Like they don't just make any character into a TV show. They don't make just any property into a TV show or a movie. That property or character has to be popular enough to be considered. And that means there has to be a sizable enough audience to be considered. And to disregard the people who worked on making that character as popular as it was to be considered is a mistake, I think. Like Harry Potter did so well with J.K. Rowling's involvement to help keep it grounded or similar to the source material as to not alienate that sizable audience. Why alienate an audience? Why bother even adapting a character if you're not going to use the assets available from the people who made it popular enough to be adapted in the first place? It's just nonsensical to me. But what do I know? I'm not a producer. But yeah, what are you all saying in the comments as far as your favorite moments? Damn, Baby Joe. He didn't have to. And that's what kind of makes him a bad person. Like, even in season 1, they alluded that Joel was not a nice guy. And he already had enemies, even before Ellie met him. Like, he was like, oh, you one of them? Or one of them? Or one of them? Because I know there's a lot of people who's probably looked like he was already that dude, right? Like, it was like a lone wolf and cub story with the lone wolf having a long list of enemies to start. Calling out shots now. You know what it is. You know what it is. On site. My favorite moment was the dogs. I like the moment with the dogs, especially when we get that close-up look of the dogs. Like, I don't know what breed of dog that is. And I don't understand how they train the dogs. Like, how do the dogs know to go only after the infected? How are the dogs immune? And how do they know to only go after the infected? Like, I didn't understand how all that happened. And those dogs look like hyenas. They were like a mix of dog and hyena. Those were some wild looking dogs. Your favorite moment was the horde of infected chasing Abby and the bloater appearing. Yeah, that scene with the fence was like, it felt like it was something pulled from The Walking Dead, but just done a little bit with more anxiety and intensity. And I really, really enjoyed it. I wish these guys were helping The Walking Dead. They had to operate on her brain to replicate the enzyme Ellie produces that tells the cordyceps she's already infected. She would die from the procedure. Thank you. Oh, man. Michael Lamont, the MVP tonight. It's not the first time. It's not the first time. He's going for the MVP of the season. 6th man of the year right here. I think it's partly a power issue. Studios they are the ones giving up the money, but they look at it more like a science, right? It's like a formula, like A plus B equals profit. But it's a little bit different when it's art. Sometimes you can find an artist who always hits, a Christopher Nolan, Ryan Coogler. Then sometimes you find a character they create that always hits, a Spider-Man. A Batman. But it takes a lot to maintain the popularity of these characters. A lot of people don't notice. Batman was almost canceled, like in the 70s or 80s. Like his book was almost done. Like Frank Miller's Dark Knight saved Batman. We might not have ever got that Batman movie. But it takes the creators, a really good creator, to help elevate these characters to that status where they get adapted. Um, and look what happened thanks to Frank Miller. Zack Snyder loved it. Joel having an emotional connection makes an emotional, selfish decision to John Wick everyone. Yeah. I agree. Having OG creators part of an adaptation is usually better. Personally, I think it's partly a studio should they want to take control from the creators. Yep. The doctors were not armed. He could have just taken Ellie. And again, I think it was more so just to establish himself as the alpha in the room, do something shocking, and then everybody else falls in line. You ever hear that? You remember that line? I think they say it a lot in movies. If you ever get into a fight, go to the biggest, nastiest looking person and punch them square in the nose and break their nose and make the blood run down his face, and he'll go into fight or flight, and everybody else around him will as well. It's kind of like that. He wanted to make an impression, to make everybody go into fight or flight, so it was a lot easier to make them agree to what he was doing. And he needed them to help get Ellie out of there, they would have, right? He had no idea what condition she was in. He had no idea if they already started operating on her or what. So yeah, he kind of was trying to read the room and take control of the situation. Okay. But yeah, Last of Us was a wild episode. What did I say we were going to talk about next? So I was going to talk about The Accountant 2. But again, my Patreon members voted on this because I'm trying to keep it to a 2-hour show as to what the topic would be. Was it going to be The Accountant 2 or was it going to be Until Dawn? So I'm going to give you guys my quick thoughts on the movie Until Dawn. Now, unfortunately, I'm not fully prepared to do that. I didn't do clips and everything. It was just more so a situation where I had all this stuff for The Accountant 2, but then I'm like, Until Dawn kind of feels like the way to go. So let me go ahead and pull up something I could pull up in the background. And give you all my thoughts on Until Dawn. Because I was able to see the movie, and it's another video game adaptation. It just feels like it was so appropriate. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was super appropriate. Nah, I ain't messing with the trailer. Because this is how we got messed up the first time. So we'll do this. We'll do the first look, which I getting nervous. A lot of movie footage there. Hold on. Nah, I think it's okay. Hope it's okay. All right. Oh, almost forgot. Okay, so let me run through my thoughts. So let's talk about Until Dawn, right? The movie that said, what if Groundhog Day had more Wendigos and fewer rules? All right, so just quick rundown. 5 friends return to a site where this girl, Clover's sister, vanished. Stalked, killed, and then it resets. It's a cool little movie that plays off of the game that has a really interesting mechanic where I teeter on whether or not I should spoil too much because there's some enjoyment as from understanding how the rules of the movie are going to play out. So I'm going to freestyle this a little bit so you guys can get my authentic thoughts on this. I think I had some cliff notes I could look at. So this movie, you know, if there's one thing I could say about this movie, it's this movie is scary fun, right? And it's self-aware about it. It doesn't just dip its toes into the horror genre pool. It kind of cannonballs into it. Uh it's a little self-awareness on everything that it does, right? It's like a horror movie mixtape also. If you are a horror fan and you go into this, you kind of know the rules of a horror movie. You know, if you got a slasher, you know, don't walk off by yourself. Supernatural thriller, don't stay away from the shadows, right? A monster movie, you know, watch out for drool from the ceiling. And this movie dips its toes in all of those genres. There's part slasher, there's part monster, there's part Final Destination, and it does it in a kind of fun way. Um, from the jump, the movie doesn't really waste much time. I'm really enjoyed the pacing of it. I mean, like, bodies start hitting the floor even before you can remember who's who, right? Like 20 minutes in, people are getting got. And I was like, oh my gosh, two people already met their maker. And that's what I call the economy of terror. It was like really, really lean on wasting time on too much setup and instead going into the premise of the story, which is way more interesting. You don't really care as much about the characters as much as you care about the situation that they're in. Um, and I like that because just when you think you've seen it all with horror movies, until Dawn hits reset and shows you something really wild, um, there's a really interesting mechanic that I thought was really clever. Um, and it's how they're able to dip their toe in every genre of horror film. Um, and I really, really enjoyed them not just playing with the self-awareness of the rules of the different horror films, but collectively amalgamating that into a movie uh that was just really fun to watch. Now, what could I say about the performances? I guess the girl who plays Clover, her name is Ella. She's kind of a standout. She is kind of a standout in this movie. Um, not because she makes smart choices. No, no, but because she does what she does like a champ, and she keeps charging back in. Like it's just been a casual inconvenience, like Fisk would say. Um, and Ji Young Yu's Megan, she's kind of cool too. She's kind of cool too. She has this scene that's just straight up chilling, right? She somehow makes being the group's mystic weirdo feel grounded in a way. Um, but the cast does what's asked, right? All throughout this movie, the cast did what they were supposed to do, which was a lot, right? They had to crawl through dirt, they had to scream like the rents do, they had to get murked. Props to the makeup and the effects team who made sure each murking had its own little flair. Like, things go from bad to worse. Veins popping, hair falling, like eyes sunken. It's gross and it's great. Atmosphere wise, the visuals and the production design are on point. Everything feels claustrophobic, eerie, and just a little bit off. It's like a haunted version of Dave and Buster's. The sound design, nerve wracking. The camera work, disorienting in the best way. Every cut to this creepy hourglass makes you clench your popcorn like it's a stress ball. And shout out again to Peter Stormare, who slides through this movie like your shady uncle who knows way too much about the family curse. He's not just chewing scenes, he's licking the plate clean, eating. Um, if I had to talk about what's bad, uh, I'm gonna be honest. The plot is like trying to solve a Rubik's cube with while you're drunk and blindfolded. You'll get moments where you think it makes sense. Then the movie throws a monster nurse or something pickaxe man at you and just laughs in your face. It's just, and the character is like, most of them are written like NPCs in a horror sim. Outside of Clover, names vanish from memory faster than these kids getting murked. Dialogue feels like it's assembled from a starter pack of horror movie teen banter. Half the time you're like, why did you do that? And the movie's like, because reasons. And then pacing, right? The movie moves like it's trying to win a speed run competition. There's barely time to breathe between all of the events. It's thrilling, yes, but it also means the emotional beats like Clover's search for her sister Melanie, they don't really land. Like, I don't really care about Melanie at all. Melanie's disappearance is supposed to be the heart of the story, but that heart is racing so fast you never get to feel it beat. And there are reasons where it feels like some of the stakes get undercut. Like, yeah. Oh, and somehow these guys just conveniently find flashlights, right? You got to go through a dark hallway. They didn't have flashlights, but all of a sudden, everybody's got one. Turn it on. Like, even in scenes where nobody found the flashlight, somebody got these kids a headlamp sponsorship. So, overall, Until Dawn, it's chaotic, it's bloody, it's a horror buffet, and I actually want more. I could have seconds. It's fast, it's dumb in the most entertaining way. It blends genres like a horror smoothie. This is the movie you throw on when you want a good scream and a few laughs, not when you're in the mood for nuance or logic. Gamers who love the PlayStation Classic, they're gonna feel like they walked right into their console. If you've never touched a controller, you're still gonna vibe with it. As long as you're cool with plot holes, you could drive a chainsaw through, you'll have fun. Is it perfect? Nah. Is it fun, messy, spooky entertainment, and sometimes makes you laugh? Then yeah, this is the movie. This is the movie that you really want to check out. But yeah, overall, I thought Until Dawn was a really fun movie. I think that, does it deserve a watch in theaters? I think if you're like a horror buff and you're really looking for a new experience or a fun experience, or you just watch horror B movies just for the fun of it, this is a movie you should go check out in theaters. Definitely pull up. If you're into nuance, deep horror, this is more like Final Destination, but if the Reaper was drunk and hit shuffle on horror tropes. This is a little bit different. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys. I can't even see your comments right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what you all are saying in the comments. Without trying to spoil everything that happens, I'm definitely trying to spare you guys from spoiling. You know what? I'm just cap. Why are you capping? Why is you capping? Won't you stop your lying? You get so excited. Let's see. Until Dawn only came out. Oh, Accountant 2 only came out today, like 5 minutes ago, UK. Bro, you know what it is. You know what it is. You know I'm seeing this movie before it drops. You know that already. So I was able to see Accountant 2. When did I see Accountant 2? I saw it like a week ago. I saw it like maybe last week. And Until Dawn I saw earlier this week. So they had a yellow flag. It was a yellow flag because that's how I feel about when they give me the screening the week of release. Like if you're super confident, I'm gonna see it like 2 to 3 weeks out. But the week of release, you're like, I don't know. And I understand Sony is hit or miss, right? This is Sony, but this is more, I guess, The Last of Us than Craven. You know what I mean? A little bit closer to the source material, and that's fun. Fernando says, I love horror movies. Until Dawn was dope. You saw it already too? That's fast. You think I'm fast? Look at Fernando. Wow, Batman was almost canceled. That is crazy. It is. Yeah. Comics was not doing good in the 80s. Um, is it as good as House of Wax? I would say so. It's fun. It's fun. It's a fun little movie, but it's good in a different way. Like like if I was gonna give it out of 5, I would give it a 3.5. So I haven't published my written review yet. So I've been I could sometimes forecast what my final score was gonna be because I use this very interesting system for reviewing. Where I don't always know what my score is going to be. I use a metric where I um, critique movies based off of a few different categories. Now, for those of you who go to TMB, the website, I'll show real quick what we kind of usually do and give you guys. Where's it at? Oh. So what we usually do on TMB, do I have any reviews up here? Recent ones? Yeah, here's one for The Last of Us. So what I usually do is I break down my reviews into all these different categories. And to me, as a critic, and as for any writers who I'm mentoring as they're growing in their critic career, I think it's the honest way to help evaluate film. A lot of people, they walk out of movies and they're like, 1 to 10, what is it? And they're like 7. And I'm like, based on what? Right. Like, so I been using this metric for God, like over a decade now to critique films where we actually try to analyze films based off of the different aspects of filmmaking, acting, cinematography, the plot, the setting, watchability, and rewatchability. And then once you score all of those aspects of filmmaking on a 1 to 10, average it out. Um, and for me, when I do this, like I compare acting. I'm when I say it's a 10, I'm talking like DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm talking like James Cameron in writing anything. I'm talking like a 10 is it's almost an unattainable number. I have to have some integrity with my scoring. So having a 10 to me is like you've done something almost otherworldly with your films. Have I given out 10s to movies? Yes, I have. Do I give them out often? I probably can think of a handful in my entire 15-year critic career where I've given a movie a perfect 10. Um, so like it's a tough hill, but that's where I'm going with it. Even with The Last of Us, I gave it a 9, mainly because everybody was really acting really well. But then, can I poke holes at it? Can I be like, oh, did I love Ellie's performance? Kinda, right? You know what I mean? And if I could poke holes at it, then you're not a 10. If I sit there and I'm like, everybody's flawless, you're a 10. I think to me, and everybody has their own opinion on what a 10 is. In my mind, and I tell this to my wife all the time, I think Titanic is a 10, right? The James Cameron movie with Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio. Eh, I can't think of a single actor in that movie who was bad. Like, I can't think of a single one who didn't give us a 10 in that movie. I can't think of a single cinematography moment or a visual effect that didn't deserve a 10. I can't think of anything in the writing that just was left unresolved or didn't make sense or was foreshadowed and just didn't go anywhere later. I thought everything about the setting, from the practical filmmaking to the themes, were a 10. Watchability, 10. Rewatchability. We already know what Titanic did when it was in theaters. People were practically living in the movie theater because they kept watching the movie and repeat. They were like just dropping 50s at the door at the movie theater on their way in the morning and then leaving at night. It was a 10. And everybody has their 10, but for me, it's like that's how I do my scoring. And I kind of rambled there. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to land with until dawn, until I actually sit down and fill out this metric. But I have a rough idea. Like, the acting is not going to get a high number, but the visual effects will, right? The plot, no. Setting and theme will. Watchability will. Reach watchability might even get higher than normal. So yeah, that's how I do that. This movie, oh, let me make myself visible. This movie was better than both Happy Death Day movies. Sure. Is as scary as Goosebumps? Yeah. Yeah, it'll be even a little scarier than Goosebumps. I promise you that. For moments. But then it balances it out by, because it's got a few different things it's trying to do with humor and fun and lightheartedness. It balances it out. I love the amount of gore in it. There is a healthy amount of gore in Until Dawn. Not a starter pack. I love when the movies run fast. I expect plot holes in these kind of films. I don't think there were really, but yeah, no, there was a lot of plot holes. I'm gonna be quiet. I take that back. Cap. Yeah, all I had to do was say Thunderbolts. Now you sticking around, right? Now you sticking around, huh? That's what I gotta. This is what I gotta do. This is what I have to do. I saw Titanic once. It broke my damn heart. I understand. It's like some movies I see once and I love them. I think they're excellently made movies. I'll never watch them again. I will never watch The Passion of the Christ again. I saw it once. I sat in theaters with it. I cried. I smiled. I prayed, and I will never watch it again. Excellent movie. Excellent. Rose, she knew she had room on that door, whatever it was. Self-preservation, homie. You know how that go. Have you watched Andor? I'm gonna save this comment for later. I'll start you. I'm gonna save this comment for later. We're gonna talk about it. What were my other topics for tonight? But yeah, this was a good one. Until Dawn, I had fun with the Until Dawn movie. I would I think I liked it a lot. It was a good little movie to watch after watching The Accountant 2 and The Amateur. I've been on my movie review kick lately. I hope you guys have had time to go ahead and check out my reviews. If you haven't, I do have a review for The Amateur already up. The Woman in the Yard, The Accountant 2. Did I publish my review? I think I did. I think it went live right before this video. And you guys got my Last of Us review. So this is where it starts. I'm going to cut this up and make a longer video for you guys later. What else did we have? I had other topics, right? Oh, yeah. This. Is The Accountant like an autistic John Wick? Nail on the head. That is an excellent description of it. Yes. And he's really fun to watch. But so I did the cool thing of I'm going to admit this. I never saw The Accountant when it came out. It was one of those movies, 2016. I think I was like doing a lot, and The Accountant just felt like one of those movies like, all right, I could put it in my backlog and I'll get to it when it hits streaming, and I just never got to it, and then it just never got a sequel, so I just left it alone. So when The Accountant 2 came out, I was like, you know what, I feel like I need to watch the first one. So I watched the first one the night before I went and saw the second one, and that was really, really good to me because one, The Accountant 1 takes place in 2016, and then The Accountant 2 takes place in 2024. So almost the same amount of time has passed in the movie as the real world. And you get to see the evolution of the characters in that time. So I like that they didn't just try to pick up where the first one ended. It did the time skip, and I really enjoyed how different the second one was from the first one. So yeah, I'm not going to give you the full review now. I do have the review up on the movie blog, the TMB channel. I'll even drop a link in the comments for you, but you could definitely go ahead and check out that video whenever you have an opportunity. Where's it at? I'm gonna put it in the comments. Oh, I never pulled up this other video. Okay. So I was going to give you guys a quick little peek, and I'm sure that you guys can definitely do this on your own when you have time. And I don't want to get flagged for using someone else's video wrong. But I did have this to talk about a little earlier, or show a little bit earlier. Somebody did the legwork of
Browsing
doing
experience has been since he
video
got high.
comparison of the scenes with Joel and Ellie from the video game and the movie and the TV
How
show.
long y'all been here?
So I was going
Since
through this
yesterday?
before, and I was like, for those of you who play the game, and who are unfamiliar, this game is really cinematic. Like playing the game, you feel like you're watching a movie. And this is the scene where Joel gets tricked into coming into this place where they attack him. Now they do change some of the locations up. In the show, it took place in a lodge. In the game, it took place in like a house.
This is my brother.
The lodge is a scene in the game, but it wasn't where this scene happened. And you see, Tommy was with Joel when this happened.
Like you heard.
So yeah, I and Joel is not Latino
because they have.
So I really like this moment. They give us the comparison of how this moment played out in the game and its movie. And it's different when you're playing the game because you're watching it with the TV show, which is cool. You're watching it and you get to see all of it play out. But the game has when you have the controller in your hand, the game does this thing where it can rumble. So when Joel gets shot, like the controller vibrates like crazy, like you feel like, oh shoot, like I feel like movies and television could benefit from some sort of vibration feature in that could get carried away, but it adds an extra layer of immersion that I really enjoyed while playing through these scenes. It just felt more hard hitting because I could physically get a stimulus from watching it play out. Obviously, you see Abby looks very different in the game. She's very buff. Like she is like Rhea Ripley buff, maybe bigger. She is a buff woman. Like when Joel took out her dad 5 years ago, she intentionally started hitting the gym because she was going on her revenge tour and she wanted to make sure. And then we have this scene where Ellie tries to save him. You control Ellie searching through the house, trying to find items like bullets and stuff, bandages, and you walk in with and it's almost shot for shot. And I really enjoyed that someone did the work to do this comparison for us. I really enjoyed this scene and the comparison with the video game and how close they were able to keep it to the source. That was really fun for me to watch. And I'm sure all the other gamers are feeling something similar. Like it was man, it's a master class in how to adapt a video game to a television show. I see your comment, Fernando. I started. We're going to get to that. I mean, all right, I see what you're saying, Skylar. That's not getting carried away at all. There's some theaters with more expensive tickets that actually do have vibrating seats that go up during certain parts of the movie. I think it's dope AF. Listen, so I watched The Accountant 2 in one of those movies. Where it was called a 4DX. Regal theaters do it, where like the seats move almost like a roller coaster. They'll spray water, they'll shoot air by your ear when bullets whiz by. They have really cool sound. But then the movie did this weird thing that kind of kept annoying the hell out of me, where like there's a scene in the movie where somebody throws a smoke bomb, whatever, tactical stuff. They throw a smoke bomb, and then the theater start shooting up smoke and filling up the room with smoke. And I'm like, what the, is the building on fire? Like it was so weird. And I'm like, what am I inhaling? The whole room is smoky. And then you can't see the screen as much because the projection is hitting the smoke instead of hitting the screen. So sometimes I like it. Sometimes they do weird stuff with it. So I hear you. I hear you. Now I don't want no theater spewing water on me. Do you know how much these braids cost? Bro, I didn't know you had braids. Your avatar is you with like a high top. I didn't know you had braids. But I do think that I don't know what the hell is in that water. And I don't know when was the last time they cleaned that nozzle. If it's like any movie theater I know, their cleaning is like done. Right? That was it. The one wipe. That's it. All right, let me stop this. Let me stop giving these monetization ads to these folks. Let's see, what else did we have to talk about? Yeah, the avatar is pre-cornrow. You gotta update it. You gotta update it. Take a new headshot. Man, you should see my headshot with cornrows. When I had cornrows before age started hitting in, I just found evidence that I used to have cornrows. I showed it to my son. He didn't think it was me. Let's see, what else did we have to talk about? So after Until Dawn. Oh, yeah. Okay. So all right, you know what? I'm gonna just do this a little bit differently because I don't even know how to feel about this one. Where's the image? Oh. What do I do with the image? Oh boy. All right, let's try something else. So this is going to be a little ad hoc, and I know you guys love it when I just do stuff on the fly. So let's talk a little bit about this project here. Ryan Gosling is going to be in a Star Wars movie, and he's bringing director Sean Levy with him. And the movie is going to be called Star Wars Starfighter. And apparently, he met with Hayden Christensen to prepare for the debut. So Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy made an appearance at Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo, which I wish I went to, but was told I couldn't go. But yeah, Gosling is going to be starring in his own film, being directed by Sean Levy. After Sean did a fantastic job in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, I feel like, and I low key feel like some directors use Marvel as a stepping stone to get to Disney, to get to Star Wars. So like Jon Favreau's been to Star Wars and never came back to Iron Man. He was gone. He's like, oh look, I'll show up as Foggy, but I ain't got time to write or direct for Marvel no more. No more. I started this little cinematic universe and I've graduated. So it often feels like, in my opinion, that Marvel is a stepping stone to get to Star Wars. But yeah, he showed up at Star Wars Celebration. Christensen said they met. He's an awesome actor and he thinks he'll fit well into the franchise. I don't think he needs any advice. He's awesome. After I have dinner, I got to have dinner with him last night. I know he's really excited to now be in the Star Wars family, and I'm excited for his film. So yeah, the movie Star Wars Starfighter is going to be directed by Levy. It's billed as a standalone film that takes place 5 years after the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. He has a writer, Jonathan Tropper, who's going to be working with him, who worked on the Atom Project, and This Is Where I Leave You. Nora Oscar winner Mikey Madison was offered a role opposite of Gosling, but the actress passed. The film begins production this fall and will be released in theaters May 28th, 2027. So I love that they're giving this movie time after it finishes filming to do the post production. But I don't know how to feel about Star Wars movies. Now, they said that Levy's film has been in development since 2022, with Gosling first being reported to be in talks to join the Star Wars universe in January. And I vaguely remember writing something about Levy's involvement in this franchise. So here's my thing, right? And you all can let me know how you feel about this, because maybe it's just me, right? Maybe it is just me, but hello. I feel like every Star Wars celebration, like 5 Star Wars movies get announced and only one of them gets released. I could swear we saw a lot of Star Wars movies announced over the years. Like, I think Ryan Johnson was supposed to have a trilogy since the second movie came out. I mean, episode 8 came out. I was like, I don't know, like 6, 7 years ago. It was almost a decade ago. Patty Jenkins was supposed to have a Star Wars movie that was supposed to come out. David Benioff and what's his name? DB Weiss from the Game of Thrones show, the ones who spearheaded the original OG Game of Thrones. They were supposed to do a Star Wars movie or a trilogy. Instead, they ended up cooking in Three Body Problem, took their talents to Netflix. Who else was supposed to get a Star Wars movie? Yahya Abdul-Mateen was supposed to be in the Ray sequel. Lando was announced a long time ago. Taika Waititi was supposed to have a movie. I remember that was announced. I was in Star Wars Celebration in 2022 when it was in Anaheim. All these movies got announced, and I'm like, not a lot of them got released. So unless it's announced for Disney Plus, I take it. I need to see a trailer at this point. I need to see a trailer because, it's hard to be a Star Wars fan to begin with, right? It's just tough, right? I prefer Star Trek personally. But then when these projects get your hopes up and then they don't even release, it's like, what am I supposed to invest my time in? So The Mandalorian's been reliable. That's one movie that I actually think will get released, either in theaters or in Disney Plus. But I need to see a trailer at this point. This is where we're at, to me. Like, I need to see a trailer to believe that this movie is actually going to release. And even then, ever since Batgirl, I'm like, I don't know, maybe. It's not ordinary for movies to get shelved. Good luck trying to find Willow on Disney Plus. Good luck trying to find Crater on Disney Plus. These things could get shelved. So yeah, I'm curious what other Star Wars fans like you all think of the announcements that have come out of Star Wars Celebration. Was there a favorite announcement? I think the Ryan Gosling one was the one that stood out the most to me, because I've been hoping that Gosling would get attached to a major franchise for quite a while. He doesn't have to. He's doing really good with his career without a major franchise. Doesn't need to be an action star. He doesn't have to do those types of movies. But I think he has the look and the talent that I would love to see in playing in my comic book or other fantasy worlds. I think it would make an amazing elf. But what do you all think about this? I may catch some of the hate for this, but like Cookie Lion said on Empire, I got to take care of me, Lucius. That said, we got too much Star Wars and need to let the franchise rest. They've sucked it dry. You're not wrong. Star Wars is a very tough place. It's a very, 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 very tough franchise for creators to operate in. It's a very, very, very tough studio for projects to get released from. They'll get announced, they'll get their hopes up, but there's a lot of creators who have admitted to working on Star Wars projects and movies, whether they were officially announced by Lucasfilm or not, and just had to walk away because of creative differences. It broke my heart when Damon Lindelof didn't get to finish what he was doing, because I feel like Damon Lindelof, the man who brought us the Watchmen HBO series, the man who's brought us the good seasons of Lost, Damon Lindelof, I feel like this is the franchise that could have really elevated him more into even more of a household name, but also helped put the trajectory of Star Wars back to where fans wanted it. I really felt like Lindelof would have been that dude, but he had a creative difference. Where are we at? All right, let me wrap up with my other topic, and then we'll go into some Q&A, because I owe you guys some Q&A. You guys have been rocking with me for a while. You guys have been asking me questions about all the different stuff that we cover. I'm going to definitely give you all some Q&A time tonight. So we talked about Ryan Gosling. We talked about, I did want to talk about Predator Badlands. So Predator Badlands is looking really, really good. I know some of y'all is just now watching Prey. Some of y'all is just now watching Alien Romulus. And some of y'all are just now getting on board with the fact that, say what you want about Disney. Say what you want about Marvel, Star Wars, or even their own original Disney branded IP. But when it comes to the way they're handling the Fox properties, Disney is cooking. Did y'all see Shogun? Did y'all see Prey? Did y'all see Alien Romulus? Disney, y'all doing what Fox never could. You're taking these franchises that should have been exploited more, in my opinion, and doing it. My gosh, have you guys seen the Predator animated film and the new Predator live action movie coming? Yo. Say what you want about Disney and all their other projects. Some of it fair, some of it unfair. But when it comes to the way they're handling these Fox properties, man, I had no idea. So, you guys know I cannot play the trailer, right? It's just not gonna happen, right? They some of y'all was here when it happened. My stream will get pulled down midstream, no warning to me. But one thing that I really found interesting about this movie is that for the first time ever, they're saying that the Predator is going to be the protagonist, which we've never seen, right? We've always seen predators chasing humans and humans defending themselves. But now we're going to see a film where the Predator is the protagonist, at least one of them. So they have an anthology movie, Killer of Killers, with the same director working on that, as well as the live action film. So we've got to see Bloody Disgusting apparently got to see like 20 minutes of the movie. But in the trailer, we got to see a little bit of who our new protagonist is. This dude, I guess here, Deck. We're going to follow him in the story. And he's going to lead us. He's going to be our hero. He's the one we're going to be rooting for once. It's almost like watching an alien movie and hoping that he catches the humans. I'd love to see the aliens take down Wayland, but it's neither here nor there. But yeah, we're going to be following a Predator as a protagonist for once. I'm very excited. They're bringing back the director from Prey, which was excellent. I think that this is going to continue in that trajectory. For those of you who have seen the trailer, I need to know what y'all thought about this movie trailer in the comments. Let me know if this is something that y'all saw and y'all was like, yeah, they cooking, or some of y'all sitting there like, yeah, you off with this one. But let me know what y'all think in the comments about Predator Badlands. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that real quick. Let's do a little Q&A. I love Star Wars. It's my favorite franchise, but Disney's the worst thing to happen to my franchise. But they cooking with Predator. They cooking with Predator. They cooking. Disney Star Wars created the YouTube hate era. Okay, whatever. You know, I'm not going to defend that. Kathleen Kennedy is all right. Now you went too far. She is not the devil. She is a woman, probably a very nice woman, who just makes decisions with the franchise we wouldn't agree with. And to be fair, George Lucas was doing stuff with the franchise we didn't agree with neither. Were you around when the Phantom Menace dropped? Everybody was like, why did you ruin Star Wars for me? No. You don't remember those days? You're going to act like it was all sunshine and roses for Star Wars for the past 20 years? That's what we're doing? Yeah, I remember when episode 2, Attack of the Clones, dropped, and everybody was like, I liked that one scene with the Jedi. Y'all remember that? Or we forgot it? It's cool if you forgot, but I didn't forget, because I remember a lot of people was like, what is this? And George wrote and directed those. The creator, the author, he did that. So, you know, this is one of those times where I was like, yo, get the franchise out of the hands of the creator. We don't need him anymore. But a lot of people don't like my taste. Like, I love the Acolyte overall, but a lot of people didn't. So my taste is not everyone's taste. I.e. movie viewers got more views hating on Disney content. Creating hateful content on YouTube in general gets you more views. Whether it's politics, science, movies, TV shows, just inciting hate will get you more views, right? Rather than talking about something that I like, if I just sat here and bashed movies that I hate and eviscerated them week in, week out, I'd probably be a much bigger channel. But that's not the type of creator I want to be. But I feel like hate in general, people don't always like to congregate to do good, but they do like to congregate to say something is bad. I won't go into politics, but one of the things I dislike is when politicians point at their predecessor and just say, or the person they're trying to unseat and say, this person is doing such a bad job, that's why you should hire me, as opposed to giving us a solution and then using that as their pitch. Don't just run off the basis that somebody did a bad job. Run off the basis that you have a plan to do better. But that's just me. Prey was my ish. I wish I had gotten a full theater run. A lot of people do, but it was COVID. There's an animated. My gosh. I can't show you because I'll get pulled. But there is a trailer. It's called Predator, Killer of Killers. Look for it. You're welcome. It is coming soon. It's going to come out, I think, in June too, like straight to Hulu. So that one, being an animated movie, you don't have to go to theaters. But what I can show you is I could pick a scene and pause it. So I'm going to say this. Ninjas. Let that sink in. Predators versus ninjas in feudal Japan. Ninjas. Yo, they about to cook. They about to cook. Filet mignon. They about to cook. Let's see, 3 body part. I wonder if this Predator movie is during the young teacher's rite of passage as he crosses into adult. Maybe. Exactly. 2 Predator movies and we're getting spoiled. Fox is cooking. Disney is cooking. Chef Curry with the pot. Yeah. Predators versus ninjas. Yeah. Didn't even know you needed it until I said it, right? But now that I said it, it's like I don't know how I could go forward without it at this point. But yeah, let's do a little bit more Q&A. How much time we got? We got like 5 more minutes. Ooh, I can't wait. Thanks for the trailer name. Predator Killer of Killers. I wish I could pull it up. I missed the days where we would cheat and put trailers up, but not no more. Can't do it. I still got the YouTube strike. Like I log into my YouTube account and it's there. It's always there. It's like, you got a strike, right? Like this isn't a warning. You have a strike. F around and find out. So I'm not putting all this hard work to build this channel up at risk. What else we got? Man, there's a good amount of y'all watching on X. So do me a favor. If you guys are just not joining in, please. Let's all jokes aside. If you've been enjoying this stream, if you're rocking with my jokes, you've been enjoying these deep dives, these analyses, please give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on X and Twitter, please still give it a like. It helps there. It's follow me, subscribe. I do this every Thursday from 6 to 8. The Correct Opinion. Please go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Do you think we'll ever get a proper Alien versus Predator? I think now it is the highest likelihood because one of the Easter eggs in the Predator trailer is the existence. I'm sorry, the Predator trailer is the existence of the Wayland Corporation. So we're getting more evidence that these two franchises still take place in the same universe. Aliens and Predators are out there, and these films take place in the same cinematic universe. So it feels like that they might go in that direction. And they have 2 really talented directors and storytellers with Dan Trachtenberg and Fede Alvarez to help them pull it off. Right? These could be their version of the Russo brothers. We can have an endgame moment here, right? Bring back Sigourney Weaver, bring back Schwarzenegger, let them do it on your left moment, and we might be there. We might be there. Did I also see an alien? Maybe. I got to go back and check. Did you also see an alien skull from the Independence? Maybe a xenomorph. Might have been a xenomorph, honestly. You got to remember, they have weird heads too. So maybe. But I had a couple started comments. I wanted to go back. I can't say this one because it's a little spoilery. Does Abby know why Joe killed her father? No, Abby does not know why. But to be honest, that's kind of what makes her motivation fun, because she doesn't really need to know why, technically, right? If you were walking down the street and you see somebody punching your mom in the face, do you really need to know why you're about to help stomp this woman out with your mom? No, you're just going to do it. It's going to be impulse. You're going to be instinctive. And for 5 years, she never really cared why. He was an unarmed man. We had rules in the Wolves militia. Don't murk anybody unarmed. And Joel doesn't play like that. So whatever. But no, she has no idea. Next one was, have you watched Andor? Oh, man. So I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I've watched Andor, but I've never finished season 1 of Andor. I tried. I really, really, really tried. Everybody kept saying, yo, this is great. This is the best Star Wars thing ever. You're going to love it. Put it on, Anthony. We know you're going to love it. This is right up your alley. I even went to Star Wars Celebration 2022, Diego Luna, all of that stuff. All of them were there. They were hyping up this show. And then I watched it, and I was like, I didn't like it. I got like 3. I can never stay awake to the end of the 3rd episode. Like I've tried like 4 times. Like it's not like, oh, it's bad, I'll give it up. Oh, let me try one more time. I'll get 4 times because I'm like, yo, I do this. I'm a live streamer. I'm a critic. I have to watch Andor. Everybody loves it. I can't stay awake. When I want something to go put me to sleep, I put on Andor. And again, this isn't for everybody. I know this isn't popular. There's a lot of people who's going to be like, clutching pearls because I said that. But I could not stay awake for Andor. Will I try again? Maybe. But I just didn't understand. But 3 episodes in, like, one, why did this dude murk those guys? Why is it? Well, what made him all of a sudden decide he was going to be a murderer? He wasn't doing that before. I didn't understand the motivation. I didn't really care for the direction of the story or the characters or any of their motives because it just felt like I was thrown in the middle of something with no explanation. And I didn't even have that mindless enjoyment to carry me through. It was taking itself so seriously. And I just never was able to finish it. I just was never able to finish it. And it's a shame a little bit because I feel like everybody's having fun without me. But it could just be like one of those things that I just, it's not that it's bad, but I just don't like the taste. Like, my wife loves liver. I can't stand the taste of liver. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking liver. I just don't like it. Like, I don't like that. You enjoy, which is cool, right? Everybody's got their opinions. And last but not least, this is off topic, but I know you're a wrestling fan. I don't think you understand how much. Look. Yeah, I didn't even know that was there. Yeah, I didn't even know that was there. I am a wrestling fan. Yes. What are your thoughts on the wise man betraying your tribal chief at Mania? Saw it coming. Because one thing that Heyman does is when his allegiances get questioned, he flips. He flip-flops. He does it. That's his thing. Did I enjoy watching it? Beautifully. I have so many things that I loved about WrestleMania this past weekend. E-Man got to go. E-Man got to go. They flew him out. I think he's got some coverage he's going to do about that. But watching it from home, there were so many things. Like, one, I love seeing Roman. I wish we saw Roman more often, but I know that he's starting his transition away from wrestling into Hollywood. I don't think everyone knows that, but he did film a movie recently. Like, filmed it. Already done, and it's going to release soon, so he's going to go on a promotion tour for that. And after that movie comes out, if he does well enough, he's going to transition like John Cena, The Rock, and Batista before him. He's going to start putting wrestling in the rear view. I hate that I missed a lot of his career because I just wasn't watching wrestling at the time. I came back at the tail end of the bloodline going into Cody Rhodes' story at WrestleMania 39. And as soon as I got Roman's new aura, because I saw him when he first came out, and I was like, I don't like this guy. I don't know why Vince cares for him. But then when he evolved and he leveled up and he became levels above. Excuse me while I acknowledge my tribal chief. So every once in a while, if you guys follow me on X, you'll see I'll just show up on posts and just wake up this morning, make sure I acknowledge my tribal chief, brush my teeth with my one in the air, as everyone else should, eat my breakfast, acknowledging how my tribal chief's day is going better now that we've acknowledged him. Like, that's how I am about my tribal chief. So I saw it coming. I think it was a good turn for him to align with Seth Rollins. I would have loved to see more people because they brought back Seth's wife, Becky Lynch. I love that Braun Breaker is aligning with him because he was too big for the Intercontinental title. He needs to go up to the big league. But I don't like how weak they're making Roman look. I don't like that things are happening at Roman's expense. I don't like that every member of the bloodline, the OG bloodline, was in attendance both at WrestleMania and Raw, and nobody helped Roman. I don't know. Where is the bloodline? I don't know what happened. Anyway, I have to start to wrap up because we are right at the 2-hour mark. Let me do this. I'm borrowing Mercury. I ain't had some good living in a minute. That sounds weird, but out of context. But anyway, but yeah, thank you all for checking out with me on the Correct Opinion this week. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. Again, if you're new here to TMB, the Correct Opinion, please give this video a like. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going to do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Otherwise, I'm going to check you all later. Peace, y'all.